Is Brock Purdy's contract extension almost done? What's up? Welcome to LaCone and LaRocca. That's Tyler C. LaRocca. I'm Grant Cohn, still in West Palm Beach, flying back tomorrow. We're talking about Brock Purdy's contract to start. It's the big topic still with the 49ers. And Jed York talked about it a lot. I don't know what your interpretation was, but he made it real clear on the 49ers. Brock Purdy's a top 10 quarterback, and he's going to be on the team for a long time, one way or another. Do you think that the 49ers are in the process of capitulating and caving, or do you think they'll wait a few more months before they capitulate and cave?
I personally think that they are not gonna cave. Because I think also what he said, like he was like, oh yeah, with what we have around him and with what we give him and with our coaching staff, yeah, I think Brock Purdy's a top 10 quarterback in the league. So in my opinion, that's like his pitch, right? Is you're not going to be this good elsewhere. And so, I mean, I hope not. They could just do like what they always do, which is end up bending the knee come season. But I think it's a little bit easier with them because I don't think Brock's going to hold out. I don't think he can. I don't think he has the leverage to hold out, especially after the Mac Jones signing. So I think that really does help them out where they don't have to cave because he can't hold out. BA could, Nick could, Debo could. He can't.
Here's my best guess after talking to people at the owners' meetings, talking to other writers, talking to Jed York. I think that the 49ers ultimately will make an offer to Brock Purdy that's north of $50 million a year, but south of $55 million. I don't think the Niners will give him the Trevor Lawrence deal.
Yeah.
Or the Jordan Love deal. But I do think they'll offer him the Jalen Hurts deal, which is 5 years, $255 million, $51 million a year with $110 million guaranteed. I think the Niners will offer that. I don't think they have yet. My best guess is that the Niners started real low in the 30s. I wouldn't be surprised. 37. Yeah. And then they went up to 42. And then now they're probably up in the high 40s. And eventually they'll make the offer of, let's say, $51 million a year. And the agent will have to decide if he will push for the next $4 million a year or if he'll just take it. Not just the agent has to decide. Brock Purdy has to decide.
Yeah.
And I think the way the Niners talk about him is kind of the way you would talk about Jalen Hurts. Like, is he elite? No, but on the Eagles, he's very successful.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, again, it all comes down to guarantees, right? Like if the number says $50 million and, you know, it's not $50 million, like we know how guarantees can go and how crazy guarantees can be. As long as the guarantees aren't too high, you can kind of write in whatever you want. But at the end of the day, it's like, I guess you could offer the Jalen Hurts deal, but even then, man, like I just don't understand why. I just don't get why.
Because I don't think he's Jalen Hurts. I mean, Jalen Hurts hasn't had a 6-9 season. Jalen Hurts hasn't had elbow surgery. Jalen Hurts was really, really good in 2 Super Bowls and won one. I don't think Brock's is good, and I don't think he's shown that he can maintain that level of consistency. Also, Jalen Hurts doesn't throw a lot of picks. Brock does. I think they're very different. Also, Jalen Hurts is a flat-out running back. Brock isn't.
Yeah, and I mean, and on top of that, it's just like, even like you said, like last year was the Eagles' bad year, right? Where they got in the playoffs and booted out by the Bucks. Brock Purdy's bad year is, like you said, it's 6-11. Like, you could say whatever you want about injuries and yada, yada, yada. But if I'm going to pay you $50 million, injuries can't affect you as drastically as they affected him. It's not. Look at Josh Allen's squad with the Bills. Like, look at Justin Herbert's talent around him with the Chargers. Like, they don't have it, and they can still make it work. And so that's where I'm looking at these quarterbacks. Like if I was a GM, that's what would separate me from paying you above 40 to 50 or below 40 to 50. Like with Brock Purdy, I would have offered him 45 and said, take it or leave it. That's it. I'm not negotiating. You got 45. I'll give you 45. And if not, enjoy playing on your rookie contract and we'll see what happens. And I would take the risk of getting burned. I would take the risk
I would
of
do
him
with
popping
Purdy
off.
is the same thing they did with Greenlaw and Hufanga and Juszczyk. They're like, look, you seem to think you know what your market is. Prove it.
Yeah.
We give you permission to seek a trade. This is what they do with Ayuk too. If you can find a team that's willing to pay you what you're asking us for, $60 million a year or close to it, and they're willing to give us a first round pick, then we'll give you the contract or we'll trade you. But we think there isn't another team that's willing to give you that contract. I don't think that there is. So why would you do it? That's why I think the Niners are going to be foolish when they give him $51 million a year, even though they're going to pat themselves in the back and say, we got him for cheaper than the Jaguars got Trevor Lawrence.
And I would even say, like, look at the Rams. They did it with Stafford, who's actually at least great, whether you think he's elite or not, whatever. But he's at least a great quarterback. He's definitely better than Brock. They even said it like, okay, fine. Go find a trade partner and we'll see. And the Rams rushed back to the negotiating table like, okay, there are a lot of teams that are willing to pay you what you want. Or there's a handful of teams that are willing to pay you what you want. We don't want you to go.
That's true. That's exactly what they did with Matthew Stafford.
Yeah. I would do the same thing. So, hey, go do it. And yes, if a team like the Giants or the Steelers, because those two are getting very desperate for quarterbacks at this point, if they go, hey, we'll pay you $55 million a year, then you have a decision to make.
But they're willing to do that with Brandon Ayuk, Kyle Juszczyk, Dre Greenlaw. Are they willing to do that with the quarterback? I just think it takes some serious cojones. And I don't know that Jed and John and Kyle have demonstrated that level of like toughness in negotiating yet. I mean, they'll take a hard line with players who aren't in the core. But the franchise quarterback, I think they'll.
But here's my thing:
like, give him what he wants.
This is my thing with again that makes Brock like so tricky. Is I forgot who it was, but someone was saying that the reason the Niners are going to do it is ultimately that they're so scared to continue on this QB carousel. We haven't had a bona fide franchise guy since Steve Young. Jeff Garcia, I guess you could throw in there. But we haven't had like a bona fide franchise quarterback. This is our guy in over 20 years. And so I forgot who said that, but I was like, that.
If you think about it too, like the Yorks haven't had a bona fide franchise guy.
Yeah.
The DeBartolos always had Joe and then Steve, and then the Yorks inherited Garcia, ran him out of town, drafted Alex Smith. That didn't work out. Took him over Aaron Rodgers. Gave Kaepernick a ton of money. That didn't work out. Gave Jimmy a ton of money. Traded up for Trey Lance. Like they've taken 4 or 5 swings at this and haven't gotten it right. And so now I think they want to say, we did it. We're just like Eddie DeBartolo. Exactly. We have organizational stability.
Yep. And I agree. I think that's what they're paying for is stability and safety.
The perception of stability.
Because they tried doing it with Jimmy. And that one damn near instantly backfired.
For the same reason.
And it damn near instantly backfired. The Colin Kaepernick one, I can't blame him. Colin looked like a stud. Like, he really did. Like, he was doing everything. But, like, even then, at the end of the day, man, like, like, the York philosophy for quarterback is bad. And they haven't found a coach that can eye that can find that. And Kyle's just another one on this long line. Because Kyle's like, oh, I'll hitch my wagon to Purdy, sure. But we all know how and who Kyle is. If he flops, I'm like, oh, it was just like a Jimmy situation, man. Like I was doing what I can with what I had, and it's just it's tough with Purdy, dude. I feel like it's out of fear. They've already lost so much, right? So if they don't get a deal done with Purdy, your fans are going to be like, now we're going to lose Brock after we just lost Dre and Hufanga and blah, 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 blah. And so it's like, I feel like Purdy's like a publicity signing at this point.
Yeah. And how long after they sign him do they Does Kyle decide he prefers Mac Jones? Okay. Brandon Ayuk did not get traded. He's still on the team. I don't think the Niners are happy about this. I doubt the Yorks are happy about this, but what do you think is next for Brandon?
I'm going to give a little bit of a hot take. I think they are going to do what they usually do with injured players that Raheem Mostert has told us and that we've pretty much seen at this point. They're going to rush him back from injury. He's going to get hurt again, and they're going to trade him next year for pennies.
Yeah. This is all about getting him back on the field so they can hopefully trade him next year.
Yep. And they're going to rush him back and pray to God that he stays healthy enough. But even if he doesn't, they're going to use one of two defenses. One, we don't want to, he wasn't at the level he was before the injury. There's our justification for trading him if he stays healthy. Or B, he got hurt again. He's injury prone. How would we have seen this coming? No one can be mad at us. This was a great signing. Trade him anyways. So I think what's next for Brandon Ayuk is he's playing for his spot on the team, pretty much.
Or they could do it this way. They could hold him out most of the season, be very cautious, because if he gets hurt again, bring him back too soon, then you can't trade him next year. And like what they did with Greenlaw. Talk about, yeah, man, sure, he's coming back. He's coming back. He's coming back. But it's like the last game of the season. You wait as long as you can, right until you're like on the verge of elimination from playoffs, and you play him and you give him some, film, let teams look at him, and you try to trade him next year and be like, hey, he's healthy now. See that?
But I'm pretty confident he's getting traded. So I think I would, if you're a Brandon Ayuk fan, I would not buy a jersey this year.
Not only is Brandon Ayuk going to get traded, I agree. Debo got traded. I bet you it'll be a long time before the 49ers spend $30 million a year or more on a wide receiver again.
Unless they're like bona fide. Yeah. If it's one of these system guys.
If he's Jerry Rice.
Yeah. Uh-huh. If he's someone like a Justin Jefferson, a Jamar Chase, that's just like ungodly, then yeah.
But how often do you get a player like that?
Exactly. But actually, we could have in the Brandon Ayuk draft, but we took Kinlaw. So,
True.
But yeah, I think I agree with you. I think they're going to get rid of him. They're going to be like, well, Kyle's system's great. Pearsall's good. Juwan's good. Cowing or whoever they draft this year. I know they're looking at like Tyler Boyd or whatever from Texas. I think Ayuk's gone, as much as it pains me to say, because I think Ayuk's good. But
I also feel that like Ayuk was kind of became an outcast for better or worse. You could blame him or not. During that whole standoff, I feel like the team is kind of cliquey anyway. That's the feeling I've gotten for such a long time. And I think the dominant click on the team is the George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey.
The MAGA Bros, yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like they were turned off by this. Yep. I mean, it's not like Nick Bosa didn't do anything. He did the same thing, but I think they were turned off.
I think after that standoff.
And I think they blame him for last season. Like, you derailed our season before it started.
100%. I think they blame him for his own injury.
Even though Trent Williams did the same thing.
Yeah, I think they blame him for his injury. I think they blame him for the dysfunction. I think also Kyle's getting a lot of blame too. Because they're like, why didn't you just let us trade this guy to the Steelers? But I think now at this point, it seems like the Yorks are trying to right their wrongs of contract negotiations, like letting go of everyone, only negotiating with Dre at the 12th hour. But like, yeah, I love BA. I think he's great. He's like a demo for the offense, but yeah, I don't see any world unless he comes back and he is just phenomenal. Like, he comes back at like week 10, plays those final games and playoffs and just like looks insane. I don't see it.
Okay. I got a little tidbit of news. This is news and this is exclusive for me. Mm-hmm. Okay. So at the NFL annual league meeting, West Palm Beach, Florida, the Breakers Resort, all the owners are there, coaches, GMs, and you see Jed a lot. And Jed is the owner of the 49ers in name. And he's the front man. He's the lead singer. He's talking.
Yeah.
And he's meeting with people and shaking hands and working really hard. And you think that there he is, man. There's the owner of the 49ers. And then Yesterday morning, I'm just chilling it in the lobby. Who do I see walking through the lobby pretty slow? Jed's dad, John York. You remember, like, oh yeah, he owns the team along with his wife, and they gave it to their son because they're older and they don't want to do the press conferences and the handshaking, but he was there. I mean, he doesn't live there. He got off his, chair and got in a plane and was walking around, clearly doing business in the background. Something to keep in mind. I mean, Jed York can smile and sound as positive as he wants. But when the dad shows up, I often wonder why. Because he's not doing any talking.
It's like when Mike Shanahan comes through, and it's like he's not a coach. Why is his opinion even, And actually, so here's something.
He's the boss's boss.
Here's some tinfoil hat theory. Do you think Harbaugh's resurgence put a bigger fire under Jed for this season? Like seeing what Harbaugh was given with the Chargers and then how well they did, and that was the coach that Jed let go pretty much. That regime is what he let go for.
Possible. Let me just tell you where I'm going with this. To me, like Jed came out and was like, I loved, John and Kyle are the best general manager, head coach combination in football. Like he can say whatever he wants. But when John York is there and he's like left his home, it seems like everyone's on notice, even Jed.
Yeah.
Because he's too old for this. He doesn't want to have to do this. He wants this to be Jed's project and everything to be good. But he was there. So I don't know. I would feel very uncomfortable if I were John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, Jed York. Like, I just don't know what John York is thinking. Is he displeased? Is he in his own world?
I mean, you gotta
be looking at me like I want to see for myself.
It's a great rebuttal to that too, of Jed saying like, "Oh, Kyle and John are the best general manager." Okay, so then you're the problem. Because if they're the best coach and general manager duo, and our roster has everything going for it, and we still ain't won anything, there's only one person left at that point to blame, brother.
All I know is that when the Niners are in that position where they're like 3-4, 3-5, halfway through the season, and the season hasn't gotten away from them yet, but it's teetering. Often John York just happens to be at practice. And it's a coincidence, man. He just happened to be in town, even though he lives in the Midwest. It's happened before many seasons. And again, maybe he was maybe he's there every year. I noticed it and I wanted to pass that along. I'm not drawing any conclusions, but I'm sharing my thought processes and my questions.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be able to blame him. I think it's just.
And that's why, like, I still wonder if Kyle and John are like on notice. I'm not going to use the hot seat word because it doesn't mean anything. And everyone wants to talk about, well, what's the temperature and how warm? It just feels like when that guy's there, people are on notice. People on their best behavior.
Yeah, I mean, people are delusional if they think Kyle and John's seats aren't at least warming up. Like, there's no way you go 6-11 after the amount of money was spent, after the amount of promises we've heard. There's just like, there's no way. And if you're a fan and you are defending, like, no, they shouldn't be, then you're a problem too. Like, you want your organization to be fine with this then? Like,
also, last thing, I think if and when Kyle and John ever get fired, or the Niners decide they want to go in a different direction, however, that's going to be John and Denise's decision. I mean, Jed might be involved in the decision. He might agree with them, but I think ultimately it's their call. And if and when these two get replaced, the replacements will be picked by Denise and John. That's my read on it. So again, Jed does a great job representing the 49ers, but
I think that's also why Jed's defending them so hard, is because I think he knows, like, bro, you fired Harbaugh because you guys didn't get along, and then Kyle was your second coming. And if this doesn't work out, dude, like, you just can't find it. Like, you just don't have the eye for it. You just don't. And you just don't know how, like, you know how to find it, but you don't know how to work with it. It's like Kyle with quarterbacks. You can find it, you just can't, you don't know what to do with it when it's in your hands. And because, if Kyle left and John left and they went and were successful elsewhere, it's like, okay, Jed's the issue. Just like Harbaugh. Like, okay. But everyone knew with the Harbaugh thing, like, that everyone knew that was a Jed in him.
Let's talk about Harbaugh for a second. I was there. I saw him at the owners' meetings, listened to him talk. And I actually, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like he's not quite the coach, quite the. I think he's. I don't. How do you say this in a nice way? I mean, he has heart issues.
Yeah.
He has heart issues. I mean, Urban Meyer had heart issues. He feels like when he was the coach of the Niners, he was a very intense, high energy person, and he seems older than his older brother now.
Mm-hmm.
He seems like almost like an old guy, which is okay. But like Pete Carroll seems super young, even though he's the oldest coach in the league. Harbaugh's starting to seem like, didn't he have to leave a game mid-game this year?
Yeah, he left one because of he went to the tent, I think.
Yeah.
But
that's concerning. That's concerning to me.
Yeah, I mean,
high stress job.
I mean, dude, give Kyle one more Super Bowl loss, he's going to join him in the tent. He's literally going to be like, I don't know what to do here.
All right, let's talk Kittle. They mentioned that they're trying to get an extension done for him as well. Do you think he'll get the extension? How long do you think he'll have to wait? What do you think?
That's the crazy thing is we were praising them, I think it was 2 months ago now, that they're like, oh, yeah, we've already started negotiating with Kittle. Their negotiating sucks. Like, I'm sorry, the 49ers are terrible at it. I don't know if it's Parag, if it's John, if whoever it is needs to stop. These deals should have been done. They literally should be done at this point. I don't know when Kittle's going to get done. I don't see Kittle holding out. He just doesn't seem like that kind of player. He seems like he just loves to play football, and he knows his value. So I don't see him holding out, but I don't know, man. I don't understand what's wrong with this team. I don't get it. Just sign the dude. You could, if he asked for $20 million a year, you'd have to give it to him. Either give it to him or trade him.
If you care at all about the 2025 season,
yes,
you can't have holdouts.
Yes.
Right. And like Kittle and Purdy aren't going to practice without extensions, because if they like trip over a blade of grass and tear their ACL, then they get $0. There's no extension. So they're not going to practice. And the Niners have allowed these holdouts to happen. They can't this year, but this is what the Niners are going to do. They're always going to do the same stuff. They're going to start off with a really low offer. Then they're going to draft a tight end. They're going to sign a tight end. Then they're going to draft a tight end earlier than you think. Just like they drafted Ricky Pearsall last year when they were in negotiations with Brandon Ayuk to try to make it seem like, hey, man, we don't need you. We don't need you. And then right when it's time for George Kittle to actually like hold out, the Niners are going to be like, psych, what do you want? And then they'll pay him. That's what the Niners are.
My thing is just like, dude, I don't think there's no way there's an NFL team that's had as many holdouts as we have in the last 3 years. Like, there's no way. I don't know if there's a stat for it, but there's 0% chance. I haven't heard about it.
And doesn't it seem like once you allow one, then you get two, and then you get three?
It's like, dude, I mean, you guys are losing at the end of the day. So that's what I'm saying, man. If you guys aren't going to sign George to whatever he's asking, because he deserves it. He's the best tight end in the NFL. He
do it now.
Yes. Sign him now or trade him now. Like, either one. If you guys say he's asking for like 15 to 20, we don't want to pay that. Understandable. Trade him.
And what's funny is you ask John, Kyle, Jed, why do you guys take so long with these negotiations? They're always like, well, we can't force people to sign. They'll sign when they're ready to sign. No. Every
other team has no issue doing it. Yeah.
You lowball. It seems like you start off real low and then gradually work your way up to the number that everyone expected you to get to. Like, no one takes you seriously with these initial or early low offers. No one does.
Plus, right now, you can't expect people to take a discount. Why? If I'm Kittle, why would I take a discount for you? You're not a win right now team on paper.
Thank you. A lot of people keep talking about Dre Greenlaw, man, like all the reasons he left. And I'm guessing he felt defended. I mean, how could he not? But ultimately, take emotions out of it. Would you rather play for the Broncos or the 49ers in 2025?
I mean, I'd probably still choose the Niners, but
what about defense? Would you rather play on the Niners defense or the Broncos' #1 defense?
Yeah, it's just, it's like, it's the same issues the Steelers are having. These guys have like an ego for no reason. Like, it makes no sense. Like, the Steelers last year, they're just as bad. Like, they didn't want Brandon Ayuk last year at 28. And then there were rumors they were calling about Brandon Ayuk this year at 30 when you could have just had him last year at 30. Like, both of these teams have these weird egos. Like, well, we're the 49ers. Well, we're the Steelers. You should take a discount. Why? you're not winning. If I'm taking a discount, I'm going to the Philadelphia Eagles or I'm going to the Kansas City Chiefs. Those are the only two teams in the NFL I'm taking a discount for.
Isn't it interesting what Joey Bosa did? I mean, he could have came and play with the 49ers. His brother. He ended up taking $3 million more to go play for a legit Super Bowl contender and to live for a year in Western New York.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised with that because the Bosas really are all about their bag. Nick held out until he was the highest paid non-quarterback in the league, did not care who it was for. I had a feeling this was coming. I didn't see Joey taking a discount. That would have been so against their personality because their family seems very money motivated, which isn't an insult. I mean, you're in the NFL, you're getting the hell beat out of you. Like, make your money while you can. But I wasn't too surprised. Like, I think he knew the Niners were going to lowball, and we were kind of his safety net. I think that's how he viewed us as okay, well, worst case scenario, I'll take a cheaper deal and go to San Francisco. And I think for San Francisco, again, it's the ego thing. Like, well, we have your brother and we're San Francisco 49ers. And he's like, yeah, but they're the Buffalo Bills and I could get more money. So
again, my prediction, they draft another tight end. They really try to act like they're playing hardball with Kittle. Hey man, we got Luke Farrell and this rookie. We're set. Don't ask for too much money, and then they'll give him all the money.
I think it'll be real. I think 11 is very interesting. I think they could very, very well play the Tyler Warren card if he's there. And if they do, I will lose my mind if they draft Tyler.
I was thinking round 3, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
It's the first round John Lynch era 49ers. Anything could happen at 11.
That's true. We'll see. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Kyle Shanahan said something really interesting the last few yesterday. He was asked, like, what's it like going into a draft knowing you need so many starters? He was like, well, it's a lot different than the last few drafts because in 2022, 2023, we really felt like we didn't need any starters and we were just looking for depth. And really the only starters that could fit into our team was the kicker. So, I mean, how do you interpret that statement from Kyle? It sounds kind of strange.
That right there
for backups.
So here's one thing that it could mean is we only had 3rd round picks. If we're going to give Kyle the benefit of the doubt, maybe he wasn't looking for starters because they only had late round picks. If we're really being polite, if I was Jed York, I would have lost my mind hearing that. I'd have been like, what are you talking about? Like, that would have made me blow a gasket. But I think that it just shows how lackadaisical that this regime has been. They are like, entitlement is the only word that comes to mind when I think of this regime. Jed has his rich dad that owns the team and deserves to be owner. Kyle had his Super Bowl winning father be coach, and he's a golden boy, and he deserves to be coach of the Niners because his last name's Shanahan. Like, that kills me hearing that. Like, our offensive line is a mess. We could have definitely looked for starters. Our interior defensive line is a mess. We could have definitely looked for starters. Our safeties prior to Mustafa suck. We could have looked for starters.
Well, like Cam Latu in round 3, you drafted him knowing he's not a starter. Like you're just trying to fill that Luke Farrell, Charlie Warner blocking tight end role, and you spent a 3rd round pick on that. That's why his statement has the ring of, like, you really were looking for backups. Was there ever starter upside with Cam Latu, or you're like, I don't care, I just want to have the best backup tight end because we're drafting kind of low this year and our team is so great that none of these rookies will ever really make a dent in our roster in the future?
I hate that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand how, like, if you like it's oblivious.
Like when they drafted Danny Gray in round 3, like what was the vision there? Was he supposed to be a starter for them one day?
I thought, wasn't Danny the idea behind Danny Gray that he was going to be Trey Lance's deep threat because he could air it out?
I guess. I mean, they already had Debo and freaking Ayuk on the team at that point. When they drafted Ty Davis Price in round 3, were they thinking he was going to be their starter bell cow, or like what was that?
Yeah, like that's my
We
thing.
already
Is
had Elijah Mitchell.
how do we not like if you're Kyle, how do you not see the holes? What do you mean our team was good enough? No, they weren't. Javon Hargrave, even if you want to say we had Hargrave, you needed someone with him. He didn't even perform that great with us. We've needed an edge rusher with Nick to pair with Nick for years. Like our linebacking core was Dre and Fred. Outside of them, since Al-Shaair left, nothing. Our safety play has always been near the bottom. Our corners up until last year weren't great. So it's like, how do you not see these things? Like, what do you mean you weren't looking? Why weren't you looking for starters? We needed them.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
need them.
Well, what's interesting is they're looking for starters now. They've made
Thank
that real
God.
clear. I mean, they have so many holes, particularly on defense. They need at least one, maybe two, maybe three starters in the defensive line, at least one starting linebacker and a cornerback who can play a lot. So given that they've acknowledged they're going to be looking for rookies to play right away, given that they need plug and play day one starters, how do you think the Niners will approach the draft in terms of like position by round? You know what I mean? Like which need are they filling in order? I think
Round
I
one
know.
has to be defensive line.
I think round one's definitely going to be defensive line.
Unless Will Campbell's available. If Will Campbell's available, you have to take him. You have to. You have to.
I
Trent's
think
40
they're
years
going to
old.
pass on an offensive lineman because in their eyes, we're talking about need. Like, do they need a rookie to start in the offensive line this year? No, they have Spencer Burford, and Ben Barch. He could, but they need a rookie to start on the defense. They need at least one rookie to start on the defensive line. Like, they have to have one.
If I was a betting man, my money is on defensive line is 11. Actually, my money is on defensive line is 11 and our second round.
And I don't know if it's going to be like defensive end or defensive tackle.
Yeah.
But it's going to be someone that they
line.
feel can be special and like a 3-down player.
Yeah. My guess is the tackle will come in the second round and the edge rusher will come at 11. Unless
I wouldn't be surprised if they go, defensive end at 11. Yeah. And you know what? I'm not sure they're going to go defensive tackle in round 2.
I think if Walter Nolan.
They need a linebacker too, man. They lost Greenlaw.
But what about D Winters? I think they like him.
What about D Winters?
I think they like him. I think they like it. I think so. I think
if they like him, then why were they flying to freaking Texas?
Here's
to try to get Greenlaw back.
I think that sure you do, but you need an edge rusher and a tackle so badly that you can't afford to wait.
Let me. You're probably right, but let's say this though. It's a deep class of defensive tackle. And if they were to get a nose tackle, a guy who doesn't even play on third down, but is a monster against the run on first and second, that's a good pick. And you can like that's DJ Jones. And they got DJ Jones in round 6 once upon a time. So if they're looking for a 2-down run stuffer, they don't necessarily have to take that guy in round 2 of a deep defensive tackle class.
Yeah.
They could go linebacker here because it doesn't look like this linebacker class is super deep. You got Jihad Campbell in round 1 who just had labrum surgery. I wouldn't touch him. And you got Carson Schwessinger from UCLA. He went to a great school, man. All I can tell you is that he went to a great school. Yeah. So that'd be someone I think
I don't know. I feel like I get it, but they have so many needs right now.
Hey, let's look. I don't have an opinion on D Winters. Maybe D Winters is great. Maybe he's the next Dre Greenlaw. But if the Niners thought he was the next Dre Greenlaw, would they have been playing Devondre Campbell over him?
Didn't they play in tandem? Like they were rotating out for each other or no? Oh, wait, no. D Winters was hurt. That's why I think Devondre got the nod over him. Wasn't he hurt most of the
The way I remember it was they all started, but when it was time to go to nickel, Devondre stayed in the field and Winters came off. And maybe that's because they knew Devondre Campbell was going to freak out and quit and go postal on the team. But I don't know. Winters is a former 6th-round pick who looks like has some potential in coverage. but he was on the field when the Niners were getting gouged by every running back in the NFL last year. I don't know. I think he has a lot to prove, and I don't think they're just going to hand him a job.
I know a lot of people really like the James Pierce at our pick. Like I've noticed a lot of mocks like James Pierce
At
our
11?
pick. Yeah.
I feel like they're more likely to get someone. James Pierce isn't good enough against the run for the Niners to take him there. You can't take a guy who's a mostly pass rusher at that pick, even though Pierce looks like a really good one. Here's what I want to say. Do you remember the 2017 draft?
Yeah.
Okay, this was the first draft of the Shanahan era. They were starting over.
Yep.
Okay. And in that draft, they went defense with the first 3 picks.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to do the same thing. They're starting over on defense. They went Solomon Thomas, Reuben Foster.
Oh, so that means Patrick Mahomes is going to be in this class, and we're going to
absolutely. They're going to pass on Patrick Mahomes. They're going to take a D line round 1, linebacker round 2, corner round 3, and then they'll go offense after that.
You know what? If they are remaking this, what if they do this? Ahkello Witherspoon was a cornerback from Colorado, right?
Yep.
What if they trade up for another cornerback from Colorado?
Who could that be?
Shiloh Sanders. And really just no, I mean, yeah, I think they're going to go
solid
defense.
Start is making his defense over from scratch. That's how he did it in 2017. He went all 3 levels of the defense, starting from the front, going to the back. I wouldn't be surprised. He needs a good cornerback. He could take that guy in round 3. They need a guy to play 70% of the snaps.
I still am not counting out Will Johnson at 11. If he's there, I genuinely think they'll grab. Dude, he is 6'3" and runs a 4.3. I am drafting him. I don't care how bad my defensive line is if I have Will Johnson on my team. I'll fix it later. Like, I think he is so good.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
If they're going to go cornerback, defensive line, linebacker with your first 3 picks, whatever, any combination, you could go corner round 1, linebacker round 2, D-line round 3, or whatever.
I agree with you. I think we'll be surprised to see anything but Cam Skattebo early, like within the first 3 rounds of the draft. If it's offense. But I am so convinced that Skattebo is going to be a Niner. Like, Kyle will hear, these guys want to draft him. Like, trade up now.
Yeah, where is he supposed? Let me go to CBS real quick. Where is he supposed to go?
I thought he was supposed to be like a third round. I thought he was pretty comfortably in the 3rd round, I think.
CBS has him at 165. Let me check out Draft Tech. Because they're
draft projection for Draft Buzz is 4th round. They say he's a 4th rounder.
Skattebo, damn. Draft Tech has him at 2nd round, 51. If the Niners take Cam Skattebo in round 2, I'll be upset.
I will end it.
I think they're going to I want to stick with this topic for me. I don't think they're going to go before round 3, round 4 at running back. Because if you take a running back in round 2 or round 3, now you're pushing Guerendo down the depth chart beneath a rookie.
Oh, I don't think the Niners, see them.
They don't roll that way.
I could totally see them drafting Skattebo in their 3rd round. If they're feeling pressure to draft,
I don't think they could justify it, but maybe they will.
He loves he loves the Juice Check type player. It doesn't, but he's going to be Kyle's Juice Check doesn't play much either, and he was the only.
I was thinking they would go running back in round 4.
I could see
the Guerendo spot.
Yeah, I mean they'll definitely.
Here's all I'm guessing.
Haven't they drafted a running back every year?
Yeah, almost, and they went Guerendo last year in round 3. I think 4. So I think they go D-line round 1, linebacker round 2, corner with the first 3rd round pick, tight end with the second 3rd round pick, just to stick it to Kittle and his agent, running back with the 4th round pick, first 4th round pick.
See where you have them grabbing tight end, I have them grabbing
with the second 4th round pick, and then offensive tackle / guard with the first 5th round pick, and then
that's for John Cooks though. So
and then defensive tackle. Finally, they take the defensive tackle late in the 5th, and he's just a nose tackle. That's what I think they're going to do.
But that's where John Cooks is the 5th. So then he's probably going to grab Aaron Donald in the 5th. But
and then in round 7 they'll take a second running back.
Where you have them grabbing tight end, I have them grabbing Skattebo. I think they're going to go either edge rusher or Will Johnson And then second round, I have them grabbing like interior, so tackle.
Yeah, I'm tripping, dude. They're definitely taking a running back before they take a tight end. What am I thinking?
Yeah.
They're definitely taking a running back before they take a tight end.
If it wasn't Scadaboo, I'd say yes, they'll probably grab a running back later. But I think this guy is gonna be Kyle's favorite player in the draft. I bet you on Kyle's draft board, it's just written Scadaboo on the top. Like even at 11, they're like, what do we want 11? And Kyle's like, look at the board. And it's like Ted Lasso's Believe, but Kyle's is Scadaboo.
All right, man. Let's do some prize picks. The channel this year is sponsored completely by Prize Picks. Let's make some. The Warriors and the Lakers aren't playing. I'm going just California basketball. So Kawhi Leonard, apparently he's healthy.
He's been playing really well, actually, his last like 10 games. He's actually been going nuts. That's why his points and rebounds are pretty decently high.
To me, he's a better player all time than Kevin Durant. How are you still putting up numbers? You're playing with Devin Booker and you're going to miss the playoffs. Like, what in the world is that?
Oh, I think if Kawhi Leonard didn't have health issues, he would probably be a top 5 all-time player. He is insane when he's healthy.
All right, 22.5 points against the Pelicans. You're right. He's been on Enfuego.
Yeah, he's been going crazy. I think my guess is that he only didn't score a lot of points against Orlando, probably because they just beat the brakes off them, would be my guess.
I'm going to go more.
I would go more. Yeah, Kawhi's on a generational run right now.
What about James Harden? 8.5 assists. What?
Ooh, that's I'm going under. I'm going under.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a smart one.
He likes to score too much.
What about
dude Zubac? I love Zubac.
I
wish the Lakers never got rid of him.
12.5.
Yeah, he's kind of a machine.
He had 20 rebounds in the last game?
Do the Pelicans even really have a big? Yeah, I'd go more. 12.5. I think he's going to feast on them.
Okay. Ben Simmons?
You can only go more because his unders are too free. Oh, man, that's awful.
2.5 assists. 2.5.
Yeah, dude.
What else is he going to do in a basketball court? All he does is pass.
Oh, man.
2.5. I want that, baby.
Yeah, might as well. Try it out.
Okay, and then let's go like baseball. Giants. Did you say they outlawed the torpedo bat?
Did they officially?
Yeah.
Giants could have used it. Let's go Wilmer Flores over on home runs. Let's give him a home run.
Wilmer?
Yeah.
What about Ramos?
All right, let's go Ramos. Let's give someone a home run.
I want to go Ramos, dude. I feel like he's going to tear it up. He's hit one every other game.
Oh, wait, no,
that means that's bad. So let's go back to Flores. Let's go back.
Yeah, see, he's on pace. He's ready to hit one.
Okay, boom. All right, I'm going to make my picks. Finalize the lineup. Check it out those are the picks. Power play.
Okay.
Boom. Submitting the lineup. Auto accept. Yeah, definitely auto accepting projection changes. Submit the lineup. Boom. Done.
Oh, yeah.
Simple as that. Use promo code CONE, COHN, on your first play. Put down $5, get $50 instantly. That's the most generous thing I've ever heard. First play, $5.
I love Prize Picks.
You still win. I love Prize Picks too. Love Prize Picks. All right, I got a question. Do you think the Niners should trade for Joe Milton?
Just draft Jalen Milroe in the 5th. I think Jalen Milroe is a better version of Milton, and he's also not 30 years old. Joe Milton's closer to Brandon Whedon than he is Jalen Milroe.
He looked good in limited playing time last year.
Did you see him in some of those preseason games, man? He's like an Anthony Richardson. He has his couple home run shots and then does absolutely nothing the rest of the game.
So it means he's definitely the kind of quarterback that Kyle would love.
Yes.
Just like Jalen Milroe. Kyle's sitting somewhere being like, Milroe or Milton? Milroe or Milton? Milton or Milroe?
How sick would it be? Okay, remember what we were saying about tight end? Imagine this. Instead of drafting a tight end to pressure Kittle, they draft Milroe in the 2nd round to pressure Purdy. Like, you know what? We got Mac. We got the Alabama boys. We're not scared of you, Brock. We're not giving you 50. And then they pay him 55 anyways.
All seriousness, if there were one quarterback in this draft that Kyle Shanahan would fall in love with and be like incapable of passing on, I think there's one.
Who, Kyle McCord?
I think yes, I do think it's Kyle McCord.
Yes.
And let me say, I like Kyle McCord a lot. There's a whole lot to like about Kyle McCord, and I'll rattle it off in a minute.
Yeah.
He's not mobile. He's not mobile.
What do you mean? He runs a 4.940.
But in school at Syracuse, he wasn't handing off all the time. He wasn't doing like nothing but play action and RPOs and screens. Like he was dropping back and throwing more than any quarterback in the league, and he was really good at it. So if you put him in a Kyle Shanahan offense where he is doing play action and screens on top of the like some drop back opportunities, I think he'd fit. I think he would fit, and you can get him late.
I knew who you were going to say.
Yeah.
Because I think if Will Howard had an even half decent combine, that would be the guy Kyle would be like, "Ooh, I kind of like him."
I much prefer Kyle McCord for for the Shanahan.
I do as well.
Will Howard is like more mobile, and he's like, you can run him a little bit. You could put him in like a dual threat role, but like he doesn't have a strong arm. He's not that fast. I don't like him. I think he's a Chip Kelly creation.
I really do agree with you. I think Kyle McCord is Kyle's like dream. He has that Jimmy release that's just snappy and quick. He gets that ball out
pocket quarterback
so fast. He's a pocket quarterback, and he's
a really good arm too.
Yes,
like the thing about Purdy,
he's Matt Ryan.
His mobility. Yeah, like I love Purdy's mobility, but on like a well-blocked play action pass, he can't necessarily threaten all parts of the field the way you'd like a play action pass, like the way Matt Ryan could, the way Kyle McCord can, the way Mac Jones can, the way Shedeur Sanders can,
Listen to this strength on Kyle McCord's scouting report. It's like, this is why I think Kyle could draft him. Surgical accuracy in the 15 to 25 intermediate yard range, particularly on deep out routes and seam throws where he shows NFL caliber placement.
Correct.
That is Kyle's throws. Yes.
He can layer throws. He has a bigger arm. He can see more of the field. And again, he hasn't been in a system like this. He'd be elevated by Kyle Shanahan's system. He wouldn't.
He's also really smart.
He threw 45 passes a game at Syracuse.
Yeah.
He had no running attack.
He's also a very smart quarterback. Like, he does have some good pre-snap recognitions. Like, he's very good. Like, and he's good in the red zone too. Like, he's very good in the red zone. I saw a thing on him where they were showing like some like Kyle McCord's stats in the red zone. He's very efficient in the red zone. He's very smart, and he takes care of the ball in the red zone, which you got to think after Purdy's red zone fun this last year. I mean, especially because Kyle McCord, what's he projected? He's projected to be drafted in like the 4th or 5th round. Come on.
That's what I'm looking up right now.
You're telling me Kyle would not take a flyer on him?
4th or 5th. Yeah. Then why not? Why not? Like, nothing against Tanner Mordecai, but like, why not have both?
Yeah.
Why not? You could always have Tanner Mordecai on the practice squad. Why not have both?
I mean, I'll tell you this. I think
11 draft picks.
I think this would be like a Russ in Seattle situation if Kyle comes. I think he would beat out both Mac Jones and Brock in the offseason. I think Kyle McCord would be the starting quarterback if he got drafted to the San Francisco 49ers. I think Kyle would fall in love with Kyle McCord. They
have the same first name.
He's true. And I think he's got a better arm than both Mac and Purdy. He's more accurate than Mac and Purdy. He's got
and his name is Kyle. He could fit right in. There's Kyle Juszczyk, Kyle Shanahan. Is there a third Kyle?
That's not a joke, I could say. But yeah, they're the 3 Kyles.
The 3 Kyles. I think it would work. Kyle McCord, come on down. All right, let's take stock. The Niners haven't done a whole lot, but that doesn't mean they haven't gotten better in certain areas. Do you think the offense has gotten better this offseason?
Yes.
How?
I think what Richard Sherman said, addition by subtraction. I think there were too many mouths to feed. I think
he said that?
Yes. He said he thinks the Debo trade is good for San Francisco because it's addition by subtraction.
I completely agree. Sherman's good. Mm-hmm. He blocked me on Twitter, but he's good.
I completely agree with Sherm. I think that there were too many mouths to feed. You had Debo, who is crying and throwing temper tantrums for the ball. You just paid BA, so you had to throw him the ball. Pearsall needs to develop, so you had to throw him the ball. Then you got Jawan, who's always open, so you have to throw him the ball. Then you have Kittle, so you have to throw him the ball. Then
McCaffrey gets a lot of targets. Yeah.
So as you can see, we got like 7 targets we got to feed. So with
and like Demarcus Robinson won't complain.
No,
he'll be happy with 2 targets if he gets them.
Yep. And I honestly think the offense will be better without BA. I really do. I think they could focus on George and Christian, and then
Ricky.
In Ricky, and I think you have Jawan and Demarcus Robinson that can pick up the slack when I think Demarcus Robinson's a slick little route runner too. So I think he'll always be open. Jawan's at least going to box somebody out. So I honestly think the offense is going to look a lot better.
Losing Mason hurt, but they're going to draft a running back. And as long as like Bobby Turner is the one making the draft pick, I have a feeling it'll work. I mean,
did losing
Jordan Mason Guarendo's pretty good. What's that?
Did losing Jordan Mason hurt? Kyle seems like he wanted to lose Jordan Mason.
Yeah. Well, I think he's going to do very well for
I do too, for a team that's
he never really was given an opportunity to do much for the 49ers. So I don't think it's going to kill their offense. And then I think bringing in Mac Jones definitely improves them because they couldn't win without Brock Purdy last year. Now I think they can. If he gets hurt,
I think
out.
That way, if Kyle McCord goes down or something, like you got Mac and Purdy backing him up.
True. It's true. It's true.
You still have Purdy on his rookie contract too, so he's a cheap 3rd stringer, 2nd stringer.
Who has a better deep ball, Kyle McCord or Brock Purdy?
Kyle McCord. It's not even close. It's literally
Kyle McCord has a beautiful deep ball.
Brock Purdy doesn't have one.
No. And
everyone
I think
goes
from Kyle's perspective, do you think he wants someone with a limited arm but a lot of scrambling ability, or a guy with an unlimited arm and limited scrambling ability?
Oh, I would not be surprised if Kyle McCord's drafted. I would not, and I think you'll have a field day at training camp with Kyle McCord.
But I like Kyle McCord. If they take him, I'm gonna applaud. So you should be drafting a quarterback every year, and just because you have Mac Jones and Brock Purdy doesn't mean you shouldn't take.
That's what I'm saying.
In round 4.
Is you'll have a field day when you're like, okay, after Kyle McCord played the best per usual.
Yeah. Ho hum. So then they lost Aaron Banks. And like, you don't get better by giving his backup the job. But like, I think it's kind of a similar situation with like McGlinchey and McKivitz. Is McKivitz as good as McGlinchey? Nah, maybe.
But is he worth
but
the
he's
money?
So much cheaper.
Yeah.
That you'd much rather have McKivitz.
Dude,
it's like, I think I'd rather have Burford at $3 million than Banks at whatever he's making.
When I saw his contract with the Packers, I was mind blown that they gave him that money. What was it? It was like 4-year, $84 million or something. Oh, 4-year, $77 million. I think it was.
Yeah.
No.
So that's an average of almost $20 million a year. I'm sorry. Yeah, he's not that much better than Spencer Burford.
His cap hit every year is 25, 22, 21. No, I would never do that. No. I'm so glad they didn't sign that.
Yeah, like you can't really knock him there. Like they lost Jalen Moore, but you can't give him a lot of money to not play.
Yep.
And you like McKivitz because he's so cheap. So they're going to need to draft someone to replace Moore. I'm sure they will in round 4 or 5, a backup, because they're not looking for a starter at that position.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like I feel like the offense actually, they need to get a good running back in the draft, frankly. That's their biggest need on offense.
I mean, they have Juszczyk and Christian McCaffrey. Why do they need another?
They need a running back who can start and carry the load if McCaffrey goes down. Because it's not Guarendo, in my opinion. Guarendo's a good player, but he's not going to be a guy that's going to give you 20 carries a game for 2 months. Yes, Scotty Boo or someone like that.
Yep. I mean, who else would they? I mean, I feel like this is a very deep running back draft, to be honest. You know, like you have the obvious like GNT Hampton, even Caleb Johnson, but dude, you got both Ohio State boys that are both great. They're both workhorses. You got Scattaboo. You got Samson from Tennessee. You got even Trevor Etienne. You could grab him in like the 6th round. He's not bad. I feel like this is a pretty deep running back class. I don't think you can go too wrong. Oh yeah, you have the SMU guy. Why did his draft stock go so low? You even have Ollie Gordon, who was hyped up to be like the next.
My one request to Kyle Shanahan is let Bobby Turner make the pick. Don't watch someone's highlights for 15 minutes and decide that he's the one. You know what I mean? Don't watch one guy run for 300 yards against one team one time and decide, because it seems like that's what Joe Williams and Ty Davis Price had in common. One big game, 300 yards in college, and all of a sudden he's on the 49ers. Like, let Bobby do it. He's
Yeah.
really good at this. And also, like, not just the running back, but I feel like Kyle, I can't prove it, but the Ricky Pearsall pick, that felt like such a Kyle pick. And maybe he was right. Kyle's gotten pretty good with the wide receivers, but a lot of these picks, man, let your freaking scouts do the work. They know these players and they're good. Please.
I hated that. I still don't like the Pearsall pick. We should have.
Like, I just don't think any scout would have. It only makes sense for Kyle. Like, well, in my system, I'll make him a first round pick.
Should have grabbed
but you
DeJean,
took him over
man.
Cooper DeJean.
Yeah, should have grabbed DeJean. I was saying it the whole draft. I was like, should have grabbed DeJean. It's just,
as good as Pearsall is, I don't know if he's as good as
we
Cooper
didn't
DeJean.
need it. We had too many mouths to feed. We didn't need the receiver. Like,
true. That's true. Now you do, because of the injury. Let's talk defense. So the offense has got. We didn't even mention. Hold on, before we get to the defense. One more thing about the offense. The Luke Farrell signing. Without making fun of it, I do think it makes the offense better as well, because he's a much better player than Eric Sobert. You knew they were trying to get a good blocking tight end when they tried to get the guy from the Lions last year, Brock. What's his name? Brock Wright? I forget his name.
I don't remember.
They wanted it, and it's like Kyle explained it. He's like, look, if I go 2 tight ends and I have Kittle on one side and Farrell on the other side, we're legitimately a threat to run either direction, and that's a big deal. That makes sense to me. I mean, they haven't really been ambidextrous in their running game for in the past, so that's another way to make the team better. And he's making more money. His cap hit is higher than Juszczyk, which makes me feel like there might be a little bit of an evolution here. Like, maybe they're going to embrace this.
In my opinion, it helps free George up. He's always been our second offensive lineman. You could go a 2 tight end set and block Farrell and let George do his thing and be the best tight end in the NFL. And just, I'm happy as long as George can do what he needs to do.
Only thing that scares me about the Farrell signing is when Kyle has a tight end who's good in pass protection, he starts calling these play action passes where the tight end is blocking the best edge rusher on the team one-on-one. It's like, that's how Purdy got hurt the first time. So I hope that doesn't happen. The SNS show says, let's make something clear. The Niners haven't won the Super Bowl, sure, but stop acting like John Lynch hasn't done a great job putting a great roster together for a long time. No.
Was it John?
Well, they're starting over. They're resetting. Let's see if he can do it again, because the roster they put together never won.
Also, was it John that put it together, or was it?
It was
Peters?
a whole collaborative effort.
Or was it Kyle, or was it, who was it?
It was all of them. Okay. Offense has gotten slightly better. On paper, it looks like the defense may have gotten drastically worse. I mean, Greenlaw's gone. He wasn't really here last year, but he's an important player. Collins, Hargrave, Floyd, Hufanga, Trevarius Ward, Isaac Yada, 7 guys who were, solid to good players last year, gone. What do you think?
There's not enough of a roster for us to even determine that, like, that's the issue, is they don't have a full roster on defense. It seems like the one outside of Greenlaw, the only other person I was really annoyed that we lost was Malik Collins, because I actually thought he was pretty decent. Like, he was a solid rotational piece. You could have signed him for dirt cheap. Why didn't you just keep him? I don't understand that. But I get it. They're trying to get younger. Obviously Mooney Ward wasn't staying. But I liked letting Hufanga go. I thought that was very good. Leonard Floyd sure didn't really do much. Dre Greenlaw hurt, but I understand it from both ends. I understand being mad about it, but I also understand not wanting to pay him, because what if you go through this whole training camp and he's the guy and you didn't prep any other linebacker, and then boom, game 1, he gets another injury. So, I get it. But yeah, I mean, the defense has to be worse, right? We don't have even a full roster.
I'm surprised they kept Yatir Gross-Matos, Yatur. Like, his cap hit is almost $10 million. It's like the 6th highest cap hit on the team. It's higher than McCaffrey's. So what is the vision for him? He didn't even play that much last year. I think like almost all of his sacks came in the one game. Based on his salary and the fact that the Niners are being so frugal this year, I doubt they're going to give him all this money to do nothing. It seems like he's being counted on to start and contribute, which is incredible. I mean, he was a second round pick once upon a time, and he's still in his mid-20s, but he's never put it together ever.
So my thing with him is I think he's their safety blanket, right? So say first round comes and Will Johnson's there. Okay, well, we want Will Johnson. Then say second round comes and like Walter Nolan or someone like that, right? Like one of those defensive or like I don't know, Kenneth Grant, Derek Harmon are there, and you're kind of just they're like, okay, well, we want defensive tackle. And then say in the third round, they see a linebacker they really want, right? Where they kind of they can't get the edge rushers they want. I think that's what he's there for, is like, just in case we can't, we have someone we're paying $10 million. So that must mean he's good.
I feel like they need to draft a starting defensive tackle, a pass rusher who can play when your Gross Matos goes inside on third downs, at least one linebacker.
I agree.
A corner who can play in nickel defense.
I agree. I think they should have, actually participated in free agency.
They did sign Jason Pinnock, and I have a feeling he's going to play. I don't know if he's going to play well, but they gave him guaranteed more than $1 million. They gave him a couple $1 million. He's making definitely more money than Jair Brown. I think he's got to be the favorite to start at free safety, which is one less player they have to draft. But I don't know how good he's going to be.
I will say I like that we did a lot of special teams signings. I'm glad that tide has
Tyron Neal, Luke Gifford.
Yeah. I'm glad we did some special teams signings. Oh, we should put that as a topic. Did special teams get better? Because they definitely got better.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to hear that they're going to sign a kicker. It'd be nice to know who the kicker is going to be and if he's
Robbie
like serious
Gould.
competition. They brought in. I don't understand changing the long snapper, but at the same time, I don't know that it necessarily is something to get upset about. It's a long snapper, but you went and got a 39-year-old. He better be fine. That seems unnecessary.
Snapper, man. There's no like. I
also,
feel
did Tabor Pepper get blackballed?
I mean,
he's not in the league.
He's a long snapper.
Did he get punched by Debo and get blamed for? Does he get blackballed for getting punched? That's rough.
I mean, why, bro? You're a long snapper. Why are you having problems with the superstar?
How
receiver?
dare you get punched?
Yeah, why would you? Don't talk to. I don't care if he's berating your kicker. You guys are special teamers. Sit in your corner.
Yeah. Like that could be essentially what the NFL told him.
Or it's just like no one really cares. So they're not going to go out of their way to sign a long snapper. Like, I just don't care. We'll just have someone else do it. We don't need to sign a long snapper. And yeah, I mean, I'm glad we're signing. You know who I think they should sign is what was that guy with the goggles? Blankenship? Is that him? Rodrigo Blankenship or something? Yeah, they should sign him. He's been posting a lot of videos of like him constantly going to tryouts and stuff like that. He was supposed to be really good.
He's a long snapper?
No, kicker.
Oh.
Veteran kicker.
Oh, okay.
He was supposed to be really good. He's a guy that had those massive glasses, the literal goggles.
I like that.
Yeah.
Kicker was swag.
I think he went to Clemson. He was like supposed to be really, really good, but he couldn't quite translate. Like Jake Moody, but who knows? Maybe he's older. I don't know. But yeah, I think defense has definitely gotten worse. I don't know what they were doing in free agency. I don't know.
What I think is so funny though is that what they're going to end up doing this offseason is like eventually extend Purdy, eventually extend Kittle.
You think
and
so?
then throw themselves a parade like mission accomplished. We did it. And then the whole season depends on McCaffrey. The whole offseason is going to be about two people who definitely aren't going to make or break this season. If McCaffrey stays healthy, they'll make the playoffs. If he gets hurt, they'll miss the playoffs. But we're going to spend the next 4 months talking about Purdy and Kittle.
I wish there was a prize picks on that because I would take the Purdy is not getting signed. I don't think he's getting signed.
It's the 49ers.
I don't think they're doing
not that tough.
I don't think it's toughness thing. I think they just legitimately don't want to do it. I don't think they want to. I think they sign Mac Jones because they don't want to sign him. If they didn't sign Mac Jones, I would say yes. I don't think they want to sign Purdy. And
I wish you were right. I
hope I'm right. Like
I wish you were right.
Maybe I'm just.
I want to give the Niners the benefit of the doubt and the credit that they're actually going to hold firm here, but I don't think they will. I think they're going to give him $51 million a year, maybe 52, maybe 52, Tyler.
What are you
And they're
guys
gonna tell
talking
themselves
about
they
in
won.
Florida? What are you guys talking about in Florida where Purdy's supposed to be getting signed like this?
I got my sources.
Oh,
51
man.
or 52. And I'm gonna throw up, and they're gonna be like, yeah.
Okay, if they sign Purdy, we need to build like a coffin for the 49ers, and then you can nail it shut for the intro. And when
I
they
should just
sign
make my
Purdy.
video right now.
Yeah,
Brock
you
Purdy
should.
just signed a 5-year, 51, and just have it ready to go. I already know it's gonna happen.
And then it's
They
gonna
don't
be
know
like,
it's gonna happen, but
it's gonna
I
be
know
like-
it's gonna happen.
it's gonna somehow be like fully guaranteed. Like, oh yeah, he's been like, hasn't even been hurt.
Again, look at Jalen Hurts' contract. It's gonna be almost identical. That's my guess. 5 years, 255, 110 guaranteed to signing.
My guess is they're drafting Kyle McCord, not signing Purdy, and Kyle McCord beats both of them out. And then
That would be the coolest thing.
And then he gets his extension in 4 years. And
That would be the coolest thing.
And
Kyle
Kyle's
McCord
like,
in round 4. He's like the new Kirk Cousins.
they're gonna be like, this is the guy we wanted. We've wanted him the whole time. And Kyle's gonna be like, Purdy was like a greasy draft, but Kyle McCord's my guy. That's
I
mine.
like Mac Jones once upon a time, but never as much as I like Kyle
Yeah.
McCord.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're going to take him in round 1 at 11. They'd be like, you just don't.
You know what would be hilarious? Could you imagine if like they just blew everyone's minds? Like, oh yeah, we're drafting Jackson Dart round at 11. And
why would you take? But Kyle McCord is better than Jackson Dart.
Because Kyle Shanahan.
Jackson Dart got to play for a good coach in college.
How many videos would you make if the Niners drafted a quarterback at 11? Like that would
I would be so grateful.
That would
be
feed
so
generations.
Grateful. The Niners have been so boring since they lost the Super Bowl. I say, like, you could look at them and be like, what are you doing? But I think
they're scared, man. They're scared ever since the Trey Lance thing.
The only stories since they lost the Super Bowl are holdouts, drama, losses, dysfunction. That's been his team.
And his
mustache, shorts, mullets.
Dude. Oh, I hope we do something fun. That would be so funny. Or we draft like, I don't know. We draft like Janty at 11. Like something just insane.
4 years ago when they traded for Trey Lance, that was the most exciting thing that's ever happened. Was it the right move? No. But it was great for content. And I wish the Niners would do stuff like that.
You know, I don't think it was a bad move. I respect when teams take a big swing, even if you miss, because you have to. You're never going to be 100% on the draft. Like, it's easy in hindsight to be like, oh, that move sucked. But
what sucks about that move is they took the big swing and they don't even know if they missed.
Yeah.
Or like, where'd the ball go? I don't know.
My biggest issue is, to this day, I believe they wanted to draft Zach Wilson. I think that was their pick, and that's why they jumped. And then the Jets wanted.
I think they wanted to draft Mac Jones, and he would have, even if they had taken Zach Wilson, man. Zach Wilson isn't that good. Like, all he did in college was play behind a good offensive line and like hang back 12 yards and make crazy throws. Like, you can't do that.
I'm so annoyed he wasn't our backup signing, by the way. I wish
it's all good. Kyle McCord's on the way, man.
I hope so.
Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll be flying back tomorrow. My next stream will be from the Bay. Tyler, always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Have a good one.
Peace.